squad players as they're bluffing like they're not going to sign someone, then they're going to go and do a madness. I think that's what he's trying to say. Which,
yeah, I get
Bro,
that.
City signed Reinders and they demoted Kovacic to their backup. Kovacic is a very good backup. You don't just keep signing backups to come in for other backups and no major signings.
You're not feeling their starting front three, Staffy.
The front three or the midfield?
Sorry, the midfield three. Sorry, you're not.
I don't. And they don't complement each other. There's going to be another season where Odegaard doesn't get enough G&A, and people are going to sit here and say he has no output. It's because he has no one in the midfield who's actually an output specialist. You're going to have Royce get criticized for not being good on the half turn and good passer. It's because they don't want to sign a progressor to come in and actually in certain games where they play a low block or a team that sits deeper and he gets exposed and people sit here and talk about him being shit. We've seen that before. I've seen this movie before. The midfield hasn't improved. Their numbers last season proved that they're one of the worst teams in progressing the football from the middle of the pitch. And what does he go and do? He goes and replaces Partey with another ball progressor, so it kind of cancels out each other. And he just signs another ball-winning backup instead of Jorginho. And I'm supposed to lap it up because he's better than Jorginho. Come on, man. When you don't win the league again, just know why. Just know why. It's because you don't want to challenge this board. You don't want to challenge Arteta. You don't want to... Even Berta, bro. Berta is moving like a fraud already. I'll be honest. What's the difference between Berta now and what's his name? What's the Brazilian guy? Edu. He's doing the same thing, bro. He's doing the same exact thing. Oh, let's just go sign Norgard because he's friends with Odegaard and the national team.
I hear a lot of the points that you're making because for me, what I said was like with Arteta, who he brings in will determine what style of play he wants to play, right? If I go see Arsenal right now, go sign Morgan Gibbs-White along with Eze, or they sign, I don't know, a winger Gordon along with Morgan Gibbs-White or Eze, then I know they're trying to attack. But if I'm not seeing any new attacking midfielders coming in, because Ethan, if they don't bring in backup for Saka, he'll be playing both positions. And last season, he picked up a few little knocks in that as well, bro. He's still growing right now as well. You know what I'm saying? I think they could do with another attacking midfielder in that midfield. So I hear it. It's like the style of play, that midfield three. Again, you're playing Rice for me out of position. He's done all right there. He's done all right there for a guy that's not naturally an attacking midfielder. But you could definitely elevate that midfield even more. Yeah, and Staffy makes some good points, bro. You're looking at Wirtz, one of the best creators in the world. You're looking at Cherky, one of the best creators in the world. I've spoken about Chelsea's midfield many times. And then you go look at that midfield. I'm sorry, bro. There's other teams that have better midfielders than Arsenal's. Right? I think Newcastle's midfield is better. I think that's got more balance. I think Aston Villa's midfield is better, like I've said before. Tielemans and all these man, bro. Yeah, Rodgers and that.
So you rank Liverpool's, Chelsea's, City's, Newcastle's, Villa's above. You are Arsenal 6 or are they below anybody else?
Oh, I need to think of other teams, but I don't put them in my top 5 midfield. No way. When you're progressing the ball at the same rate as United and West Ham, and you're looking at who United and West Ham have in their midfield, that's disgusting. That's disgusting, bro. Yeah. we don't
as a West Ham fan, that is disgusting.
It's disgusting, bro. We don't even cook Odegaard because they cook him themselves. They cook him themselves, right? Partey was their best midfielder for me last season. So it'll be interesting to see what Zubimendi does when he comes in, because I think it's good. Very good at just getting the ball and playing what he sees. But when you get the ball from Zubimendi, you have to be able to do something with it. What's Odegaard going to be doing when he gets on the ball? What's Rice going to be doing when he gets on the ball? Is he going to be creating consistently, bro? Is he going to be scoring consistently, bro? Let's see. You know what I mean? I just look at that midfield and I don't think Arteta sets it up well. I'll be real. I think they've got the players in that team to play a 4-2-3-1.
This year says lies. Zubi is a clear upgrade on Partey. Relax.
So all of a sudden now, Zubimendi is clear of Partey, who was your best midfielder last season. Because Partey now was gone. Now you're gonna sit here and pretend that he was shit. All right.
That's classic Arsenal.
It's honestly embarrassing at this point. It's embarrassing. And I like Zubimendi, by the way. I wanted him so bad last summer when we were going for Ugarte. So I'm not even sitting here and talking shit about Zubimendi. I like Zubimendi. If anything, Zubimendi is a better ball winner than Partey. I'll give you that. But to say he's clear of him.
Steph, you know what kills me though? It's the way they fight. They try to convince you. They try to convince you to rate that midfield. You need to watch other teams other than your own. Then you'll see what your team's missing. Because I watch your team week in, week out, and I see that medium midfield most games, bro. I see how your right wing FC. You go to the right hand side, that's where Saka is. Yeah. You neglect that left hand side. That's where you want to go bring in an upgrade on that side, right? Your team has been stale for a minute. You're yet to replace Xhaka, bro. You know what I'm saying? And the quicker that you lot accept that, the better. You don't like to cry, bro. You like to cry and act like we're just dreaming what we're seeing.
Well, listen, you man that say your midfields are better, you better all be finishing above Arsenal next year. Midfield, the most important part of the team. I don't want to see I don't want to see this midfield finishing ahead of everybody else's again.
Terry, what's the midfield? Hold on. No, Lewis. Let me just land my point. What's the midfield supposed to do if they're consistently creating for guys like Nunes and guys like Jackson and they keep missing, bro? Right? You still need to be able to finish the chances that they're creating, right? Because I saw Palmer creating a lot of chances last year, they're being missed. I saw Enzo create a lot of chances last year being missed. That don't mean they ain't done their job.
But I also watched. Okay, but let's be fair about this. I also watched Arsenal get ridiculed from the end of last summer's transfer window to the end of last season, by myself included, and all I ever got met with was facts. Why didn't they buy a striker? With a striker, they win more of these games. So they were clearly getting the ball into the dangerous areas and creating. Otherwise, the conversation. Yeah, but not as much as these other teams. Hang on, though. If Arsenal were not in a position where they should have been winning these games, the conversation would not have been they need a number 9, a goal scorer, prolific goal scorer, prolific goal scorer, prolific goal scorer. It would have been that the main talking point. Nobody denies they need to add more creativity. I'm not going to sit here and lie about that. But the main point of criticism was no striker. It feels now that Arsenal are moving on to guessing either a very good or a top class striker. Now it's got to be that midfield is dead. And it's I'm telling you what it comes across like. It's coming across like the needle is being moved and the bar is being raised, because I didn't hear as much of it. Now, there are Arsenal fans that go, I'm not saying it wasn't criticized.
I've never, hold on. Are you talking about me or are you talking about in general? I'm talking about this for ages.
I quite clearly said I'm talking in generals here, right? I said for the course of so this is my view on it. I'm not saying they can't look to improve the attack. I think they need to improve their attacking midfield a bit. I'm on record of saying that. But when it comes to talking about how good or bad their midfield is, I still think they create enough chances. Yes, they may not have all the stats in the right place. They don't progress the ball enough in certain areas. And I think they need to look to improve on that. There's no doubt. I think Zubimendi, though, and the thing with progression stats is a player like Zubimendi should make those stats look a lot better next year, because he is a kind of DM that when he picks up that ball, he likes to feed it forward. He likes to move that ball forward. So when you start...
Partey
did, but I think Zubimendi's better at that. So what you might find next year is though, just based on just my eye test, I like the way Zubimendi does it. I watch what he does. I think he's going to progress the ball a lot. Especially when I watch Zubimendi play for Spain.
Zubimendi struggled to advance the ball 2 games against United, and he played a midfield of Casemiro and Bruno.
Again.
So if you want to go by eye test, that's what the eye test showed us. And I like Zubimendi.
Hang on, but you just missed the key fundamental on what I said, because your brain stopped working for a second because you got angry, right?
I'm not angry, bro. Don't tell me that I'm angry. I know if I'm angry.
I literally said, especially when he's in that Spain team. When he's in that Spain team, he's got better quality around him. I see him move that ball so much better than when I saw him play for Sociedad. And we all know that's the case, right? That when you take a player out of an average team and put them into a better team, you can see an advancement. And we've also seen it work in reverse, right? And we've got famous examples at our football clubs. You take a player like Wes Brown, you put him in Sunderland's team, he looks nowhere near as good instantly, even though he was a lead player for a few years at United and never looked out of place for us. So I think you'll see a better player there. But the thing with the progression stats, all it's going to take is a few players passing the ball forward an extra 4 or 5 times each game for that to accumulate. Sorry, let me just finish. Over the course of the season, I still think they got the ball to the edge of the box on a large amount of times last season. I still think their biggest issue was not having a number 9 that scored goals. And I think they either need to get a 10 that scores more goals or creates more, and a wide left player who scores or creates more. Because I don't think those players did it enough. So they didn't do it enough.
That's the point you keep missing. If you're competing against a Liverpool and a Man City right now, Cherki and these sort of players have got Salah, Wirtz and that, they are going to create more chances than Arsenal, because they've got better creative attackers in their team, right? Mm-hmm. And they have Haaland, Man City have Haaland, and then you've got Marmoush and these man, and then you've got Liverpool. They're looking at Isak. They go and get Isak right now. It doesn't matter what Arsenal do in terms of bringing in Sesko. That midfield is not going to outperform those other 2 teams for me, right? I think those two teams would create more chances than them, which ultimately means that you've got more chances to win more games. How many times this season have we heard Arsenal fans and me talk to you about how they struggled to break down the low block?
Well,
you're seeing Rice. Hold on, you're seeing Rice getting on the ball. Man's trying to do scoops. You can't do scoops. That's not you. Yeah, you're trying to do scoops, right?
Sorry.
And you've said it yourself. Oh, well, you wouldn't really talk about Rice's creativity. You would talk about his defending. Like what he does off the ball, right?
I agree.
So that's the point that we're making. When you're trying to win the league, you have to have a better setup and better players than what the Man City and the likes of Liverpool, bro, because they're the main two that you're going to try beat.
So what I would say to this is that though, based on the original point of this little thread on the debate, you said that our midfield better, but we just didn't have the people putting the ball in the back of the net to enhance us up the league table.
Yep.
But if Arsenal are not even creating those chances, they should still be behind you in the league.
I never said they don't create chances.
So if your midfield is hang on. If your midfield is progressing the ball more and creating more than Arsenal's, if they're not even creating the chances, their situation is worse than you having strikers missing the chances. Surely,
bro, they've been clinical. If you go check the comparison between Arsenal and Chelsea, bro, they outperformed their XG on a mad one. With us, only Southampton at one point in the season had a worse conversion rate than Chelsea, bro. That's how poor it was, right? And what we only scored 5 less goals than these guys.
Yeah, but that's the whole point. They only scored five more goals than you, and they're not creating chances.
Like, they're creating, but they're not creating to the same levels as the Liverpools and the Man Cities and even Chelsea, bro.
That's fair. How did everyone in the Premier League fumble Michael Olise? Well, no one did. Chelsea tried to get him, and he said no and went Bayern. Like, no one fumbled.
Chelsea did, to be fair.
No, the year before he said yes, and then they nearly snitched on us. Then he said no the following year. Don't let D hear that, because he always says no, we didn't snitch. That's why Lula smiled.
Arsenal fan here. Partey doesn't do it regularly, most in our own half. This here says Waneri and Dalman are Arteta's plan B. I don't agree that they are kids as they are kids, but why are we bluffing Eze, for example, and we need a striker and left winger before pre-season?
You see what I'm saying? That profile player, hold on, Terry, before you come in, yeah? That profile player, that's the Arsenal that I know. That's the Arsenal that I grew up watching, right? Real technical players, because I used to call these lot baby Barcelona with how they used to play with Wenger, right? You had the Wilsheres, you had the Cazolas, you had the those sort of midfielders, the Rosickis and that. Attacking technical midfielders.
Well, that brings us nicely in, because we've got a lot of super chats to get to be fair, but